Welcome. Welcome. Hello everyone. It is Tuesday. I'm feeling a little paranoid right now because I don't know if you can hear me on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. I don't know. But I know it's recorded on Twitter. That much I know. So, today be what? It says to think carefully. Think carefully before you imagine. This was from a Neville Goddard lecture a couple nights ago, like last week. To think carefully. You see, because sometimes we let ourselves get away from ourselves. What's that mean? Well, sometimes when we get caught up in the heat of a moment, sometimes we can say something, right? Sometimes we can do something. Sometimes we imagine things, right? Good morning, Jeff. Can you hear me on YouTube? Drop a 1 or a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. You see, what happens is sometimes we get away from ourselves. Oh, and Shay Dubs am on Twitch today. Definitely let me know if you can hear me in these YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streets. Let me know if you can hear me before we carry on. Well, welcome everybody. You see, sometimes though we tend to get away from ourselves and we don't think anymore, right? We just act. But how did we act? I am telling it to you because it is actual fact. And that's why when I read it the other night in the lecture, it says to think carefully before you imagine. Well, why do you lean towards the negative? Because that's usually where we are most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time, right? You go somewhere, somebody gets on your nerves. That's what we do. We remember our conflicts more than we remember our beautiful interactions, right? So think carefully before. What do I mean? I can only tell you from experience, right? You know when your kids say things, you know when your kids say things, right? And you just want to pop off. That's a phrase I learned, right? Yeah, your kids say things and you just want to pop off. Right in that moment, there is a window, a very small window, to think carefully before you pop off. But remember this. Remember that scripture that if a man looks lustfully upon a woman, he has already created the act. He's already committed the act in his mind. He's already committed the act. Well, what do you mean? Because it is with feeling. When you do something with feeling, when you think about something with feeling, it is done. But here's the thing. You can restrain yourself, though. You can not say it. You can not say it. Why you? Oh, somebody said one time, I wish I never had you. I was like, oh, shoot, don't say that. You can restrain yourself from saying, I wish I never had you. But the very fact that you felt it with such passion, you've already said it. So think carefully before we speak. Think carefully. Think carefully. Do I want this? Yeah, I might be justified, but do I want it? Is it a good idea? right? Is it a good idea? That's what we do. We stop and we think about it because there's that little window where you feel it bubbling up and you're like, oh man, what do I do here? That little window. If we would stop right there and think before we spoke, think before we acted. You see, even though you might have done it in your mind's eye and you restrained yourself, sometimes that's all that matters. That you said, not today, devil, not today. All right. That's what you can say, not today. YouTube, can you let me know if you can hear me? This is what I'm saying to you. Just in that small window, you might want to say something, but it depends on what it is. You think about it. I've told you this countless times. Taste your words before you speak. Why is this important? Why am I saying it to myself? Because we live and we forget. Just like Neville Goddard was saying last night in the lecture, people can do great things. They can manifest great things, but then they go out and they live and they forget what they've done. And then they're like, oh my God, my life is so, because they forgot what they've done, right? They forgot what they've done. So this is why the reminder is there every day, so that it is always in the forefront of our minds to think carefully, to speak carefully. You see, that scripture says a soft answer turns away wrath. A soft answer. Not the yo mama, not that answer, because them is fighting words, right? So you think carefully. Because sometimes if we would stop and take that, we'd catch ourselves if we say things like, yeah, but I don't know that I'm good enough. Whoa, whoa, what did you say? What did you just say? I don't think I'm good enough. See? And it just comes out of you so quickly, right? So effortlessly it comes out because we've been entertaining it for a while. Oh, I'm not as good as, I'm not as smart as, I'm not as wealthy as. See what we say? But if we would stop right in the midst of that before we said it, right? If we would stop in the midst of it before we said it, we would say to ourselves, wait, what did I say about myself? What did I say about myself? And when you catch it, you would correct it and say, wait a minute, wait a minute. If that is how I feel about myself, well, then that is why I have my life the way it is. I don't want to feel that way. And you would correct it by telling yourself, wait a minute, I am more than enough. I am. Sometimes you don't have the words after I am, but as long as you know that you are, you can now decide what you want to be. But it comes when we stop ourselves from just rushing into something. Wait a minute, what did I say? Let me think about what I just said. What does that imply? You see, words are not idle. We hear this all the time, that words are not idle. We hear it all the time. Words are not idle. When you're speaking, you're spelling. You're casting a spell. It's not that you're casting a spell. You are planting the intention behind your words. That is what gives your words life. The fact that you have an intent, a feeling, a motivation behind your words before you say them, because it is that thing that propels the words out of you like a cannon. Ah, see, it's that mood that propels the words out of you. That's why you say them. Not because the words are magical, but because the intent that you have them with is like a slingshot, a catapult, right? That feeling in your heart, that feeling that you have in there, whatever that is, you propel your words out of you using that. So the next time you want to think that words have power, remember what gives words power. You do. Your intention, your passion, your mood, your feeling, your state of mind. That is what gives the words passion. But where does that come from? Your mood, which influences the way you think. So if you can catch yourself as you're going through the day, when you catch a mood that comes upon you, whether it be reminiscent, where are you thinking about a loved one? Where you go, "Aw, I just love you." Are you thinking about that? Or are you thinking about somebody who pissed you off? It seems really easy to do. It seems really simple to do. But look at how quickly we forget to do it. So that is why the encouragement is here for us today, to think carefully. Man, but that's so much work. Well, let me ask this question. Is it more work to clean up the mess or more work to prevent the mess? I'm just asking for a friend. Is it easier to clean up the mess or is it easier to prevent the mess? Hmm. It is far easier to prevent. Well, they say prevention is better than cure. But why would that be? Well, when you take a moment to gather your thoughts and gather yourself, well, then you know what will transpire. You can predict it. You walk into work with a bad attitude, man, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what kind of day you're going to have, right? But you walk in with a good attitude. Yeah, you may encounter one or two people who are a little bit persnickety, but that's okay. Because that's them. That's not your day. And you know how to ease yourself out of that situation. So today, as we go through the world today, I know it is challenging. Trust me, I know. hmm. Yep, I know that it is challenging. But think carefully before you act, before you speak. Taste the mood that you're in. Taste the mood that you are in. And when you know that mood, you know exactly how something will unfold for you. See how powerful you are now? You don't have to be victim of your quote unquote thoughts. You don't have to be victim of quote unquote your past when it emerges, because you will, listen, you're going to remember these things. You're going to remember the atrocities that were done to you. You know why you'll remember? Because you don't have Alzheimer's. That's why you'll remember them. But when you remember them, because I know sometimes in the back of my mind when a winter comes along, I remember coming home and finding all my possessions in garbage bags in the snow at the ripe old age of 17. Oh, I remember very well. I don't think I'll ever forget it. Ever. So I got two choices. Where am I now? Living in a house. Ain't nobody can put me out. Right? So the next time I remember that memory, I remind myself, you're okay. You're all right. Breathe. You got this. That was then. This is now. This is now. Where am I now? What am I feeling now? Who am I now? Every moment I've got to correct myself and do it because the memories are always there. The memories are always going to be there, but you are no longer victim. Oh, but Angela, you don't know my situation. I might not know your situation, but I know that you can conquer all situations. That's where my faith is, not in the knowledge of your circumstance. My faith is in the knowledge that you can overcome your circumstance. That's where my faith is, that you can overcome it, that you can overcome it. And if you think you have no one in your corner, remember what Neville Goddard says, to think lovingly. Think lovingly on behalf of yourself or another. So I may not know your circumstance personally. Hey, Saps. I may not know your situation personally. But when I see you guys show up here every day, day after day, you leave an impression upon me. And as I go about my day, I think of you. And I think of you, like the song says, fondly. I think of you as having accomplished your desire. I hear or I see it in type of what you say to tell me you've accomplished something. That's how I think of each and every one of you. Melly Mel. So you see, sometimes when you think you're alone, there's always somebody thinking about you in a most beautiful way. Remember that and allow it to pull you and elevate you upwards and onwards. That's what you do, right? So think carefully. Everybody doesn't always have to be your bosom buddy. But as long as you know there's just one. And sometimes that one is just me. Me. Seriously, sometimes that one is just me. Sometimes when I sit here and I say, I feel like second fiddle. I feel like everybody always chooses somebody else over me first. Yeah, I sit here and I think that. And then somebody comes along and says to me, why would you think that? That's so negative. You're not second fiddle to anybody. And I'm like, oh, how would they know I was feeling that way? Because the words don't stay hidden. The feeling does not stay hidden. So I'm not sitting here and telling you something I don't know. What I'm sitting here to tell you is to be encouraged to know that you are incredible. You are amazing. So just take a split second to think before you pop off. Listen, they could be so deserving of it too. Oh yes, they could be. But again, some may wake up and choose. Some of us may wake up and choose to clean up afterwards instead of preventing a mess. And that's all right. Get up and do it again. Get up and move on. You don't got to beat yourself up. Just acknowledge the fact that you made the decision that you made. In no sense feeling bad about it. But learn and practice. So that's what we do on a daily basis. Whatever the situation is. Whatever the situation is. How do you want it to turn out? Look at what you're in. Neville Goddard always uses the analogy. He says, if you were imprisoned, you would want to be free, would you not? So he said, instead of seeing your imprisonment, get your mind in a spot of freedom. Because where you are in imagination, there you must be in reality. Remember, in my Father's house are many mansions, and I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may be also. It simply means that once you have decided where you want to be in your mind's eye, stay there. You don't have to be delusional, because that's not what it doesn't work with delusion. It works with what you believe to be true. Right? So if you say, look, I don't see it right now. I know I'm right where I'm at right now. But I'm telling you, I planted a seed and I'm going to reap the harvest. So I just want to see and recognize when the harvest comes in so I can reap it. I'm ready. And you walk with the anticipation. You walk with the peace of knowing that you did it. And it has to materialize. Because it has not materialized in the physical does not mean it has not materialized in the invisible. But that's how you know where it was, because you saw it in your mind's eye where it was invisible. That's what you've got to have faith in. My situation, I'm in this right here, right now, physically, but I'm going to get my mind where I want to be physically. And you keep your mind there. And every time you fall out of it, think carefully and go back. Sometimes it is hard to do. And when you find yourself struggling, listen, live. Go get something to eat. Go do your laundry. Go for a walk. Do something to just put yourself at ease. You see, because sometimes we try so hard. We try too hard. And anytime you find yourself having to force something, stop. Just take a break. Just take a break. See? Take a break. Take a breather. Read a book, listen to a song, listen to some music. It doesn't matter. Just take a break. Right? Just take a break. That's what you do. Because this is how we live naturally. Right? So let's welcome everybody into the space this morning. Let's go. I see you here in the Twitter sphere. It's good to see you. Hey, Ray Ray. KZ. Big Mike. I see you here on Fanbase. Listen, I am trusting that YouTube and Facebook and Twitch are working great, because nobody said to me in the audience yet that they didn't hear me. So I'm trusting that they're hearing me loud and clear. Melly Mel is in the house. Saps is in the house. Shea Butter is in the house. Good morning, Jeff. Jeff is in the house too. Wherever you are, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Fanbase, I see you. I see you. Remember to just take a moment, mellow it out, you know. They call me Yellow Mellow, right? Just mellow it out. Your objective, should you choose to accept it, is to recognize that you are moving through life. I told my son the other day, you curate self-esteem. You curate it, meaning you grow it, you build it. How? By doing things When you do one thing and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know I was good at that. I didn't even know I could do that. See, it makes you feel good about yourself. You hold yourself in a little bit of higher esteem. But it's not based on the other, it's based on you. That's how you do it. So you curate your confidence by doing what? Practicing. Just do something. Try something. You say, oh my goodness, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could do that. Well then. I didn't know I could take such good direction, but as my mother said, you got a good teacher. So I take that for what it is, because she is a good teacher. I learned how to bake certain things just over WhatsApp from my mom saying, okay, here's how we're going to do it. Show me what you're doing. Okay, put this in, put that in. I built my confidence just by doing what she said to me, and it came out, and I'm like, I did it, Mama, I did it. This is what it is. Think before you commit. That's what we do. Hey, Sparking. Oh, is that Goku? Is that Goku? It sure is. Listen, take your time. You notice that nature doesn't hurry, but yet everything gets done. Oh, indeed. Let us learn from her. Oh, she's passionate. Look at where she is right now. She is in the ebb. She is relaxing with this. We're going into winter. If you are in this hemisphere, you will get the winter. If you're not, well, you'll get a little bit cooler weather. But watch her. She doesn't rush into anything. She just simply says, take a breather. Take your time. Think carefully. That's what she says. Rest in what you know. Rejuvenate yourself in what you know. Watch nature. She'll tell you everything you need to know. She mirrors you after all. That is the beauty of what we've got. Right? That is the beauty of what we've got. Now, Sparking, normally, normally I would, but I'm just about to wrap it up here. Slide into my DMs and tell me what's going on. Um, but you know, I appreciate you being here. Truly, I do. Um, yeah, I do. So how are we gonna go out today? Oh, hey, Ronay. How are we gonna go out into the world today? We're gonna go out into the world today, and we're gonna walk with a little bit of pep in our step. We're gonna hold our carriage upright, shoulders back, chest up, at ease. Why? Because you are phenomenal. Shoot, not because I say so. I can tell you you're phenomenal all day. But that is something you've got to come to know for yourself. Nothing that man can do can make you phenomenal. But it is what, listen, it is what God has done. Not God in the sense of church, because they've just got it all misinterpreted. God put himself in you as your very breath, your very ability to think, your very ability to speak, your very ability to move, your heart beating. You think that is a coincidence? No, that's God. And God did not say, well, Ronay was a bad girl today, so let me just take myself back. No. God said, I give you what I have. How do you know? Because silver and gold have I not, but such as I have I give unto you. And what did God have? Himself. So he gave it to you without condition. You see, that's why I tell you, it's not the way the church teaches. God didn't give you himself based upon how good you can be or how bad you can be. He gave you himself because you are. So the next time you want to pray, look in the mirror. And maybe next time you want to ask, why did God do it to me? Remember where God is. Your heartbeat, that's where God is. Your inhale and exhale, that's where God is. And you and I cannot earn it. You cannot be good enough to get God. Whether you be Muslim, whether you be Jewish, whether you be whatever you are, you're still God. They just have different names. They just have different names. So go forth today and know that you are amazing. And aren't you curious to find out just how amazing you are? I know I am. Every day I marvel. I said, ooh, I learned something new today. My mind is clicking. Like Quicksilver, yeah. That's what you do. And I tell you, if you ask, well, what am I good at? You'll get the answer. But don't ask if you don't want to know. If you want to know, ask. Right? So that's why I say think carefully today before you condemn yourself. Oh, I'm not good enough. Stop it. Yes, you are. It's just that somebody lied to you to tell you that you weren't good enough. So why would you continue lying to yourself? Remember when Jesus was talking to the disciples, because it's about you, right? Who does the world say that I am? And after they answered Jesus, he finally asked them one last question. And what was that question? He said, yeah, but who do you say that I am? What's that tell you? That story is telling you that the world can have an opinion of you. The world can have an opinion of you. But the opinion that matters is the one you hold of yourself. Oh, but Angela, I can read that in any self-help book. Of course you can. But until you experience it, it will remain intellectual for you. So seek to experience your greatness. And that is what will change your life. Do it one little thing at a time. Anyway, time to chime in. Tee-hee. Let me get the chime. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sparking Leo. And let's go. Thank you all for being here, everyone. Thank you all, each and every one of you. Go forth and think carefully today. Yes, think carefully.